Welcome, everyone. We are live, and it is Tuesday. I forgot to tell you the temperature today. What is the temperature today before we get started? Whew. Temperature, whoo, hallelujah. It is minus 10 degrees Celsius. I'm not cold, you're cold. Anyway. Just start. That's today's topic. Just start. You see, because sometimes when we're learning to do something new, we tend to feel a little overwhelmed, just to say the least. But just start. What happens when you just start? I told you yesterday that the guy said, you can do one thing and in 5 days you'll change your life if you do that one thing for 5 days. So what did you start doing? You don't have to tell me. Just what did you start doing? You see, when you start to do something and you continue to do it, it builds momentum. For instance, when I'm working on projects, like on books, sometimes it's a little challenging for me to get started. You know, the computer's always on and plugged in and ready to go, yes, charged, everything. But you've got to get your mind in the right place. And so whenever I feel stuck, because I don't like to edit. When I'm narrating, I do not like editing. And that's why I do my best to not make mistakes so that I don't have to edit. But to get started sometimes can be a little rough, meaning there's work to be done. Like to dedicate time to sit and record, I've got to not take it from somewhere else, but there's other things that need to be done as well, right? And after a long day of work, you're just not there, right? But what I've noticed, this has been going on for years. It's been this way for 5 years plus. All I have to do is put my headphones in and pick up my microphone. And the moment I start, I can't put it down. It builds on itself. It builds momentum. And next thing you know, I've recorded 6 chapters in one sitting, or I've edited in like however many chapters in one sitting. The point is, we all know to start is a little challenging. But when you know what it is that you're doing, when you know what that thing is, just start. It's not fun. Listen, I see people outside walking their dog, jogging, and of course I want to beat them because I'm like, do you know how cold it is outside right now? And you outside jogging, sir, ma'am, go back indoors. Run in the spot inside where it's warm. Shoo. I digress. But if you think about it, look at what it takes to get up and go outside to do it. And all you gotta do is just start. Just start. That one tiny little action, so long as you start it, it will propel you and keep you going. Like a slow burning fire, if you will. Right? You want a slow burning fire, if there is such a thing. Meaning not gigantic flames, just a little fire. It goes through fuel less, thereby it burns longer. At least that's my comprehension when I think about it. So when you want to start something, for instance, if you want to start meditating, the moment you say meditating, people are like, what's that? I gotta sit like in the lotus position. I can't even get my knees to do that. What do you want me to do? I don't have the time. My ADD, my ADHD. My goodness. I can't meditate. Hmm. Perhaps because you do not comprehend what it is. Hmm. You see, it is not a matter of silencing the mind. One cannot silence it. You cannot silence your awareness of your existence. You know that you're here. You know that you're always here. So you cannot silence it. That is the awareness of the self. And how does it show up? It shows up as the brain, the physical component where your thoughts are running rampant. It's all right. Thoughts only run rampant in the beginning because you've never taken the time to discipline. Oh, discipline? What does that mean, Angela? Well, it sure doesn't mean to whip somebody into shape, I'll tell you that. Discipline is the formation of a habit. Wait, what? Mm, yes, you have to learn something. This is what brings about the habit. You learn something and then you implement it in your life. And because you implement that thing, you do it the same way every time, it becomes now known as you are disciplined. You can be relied upon to do the same thing the same way every time. Disciplined. I saw this, God, I can't even say the name, but the sport in China where they do the martial arts. And kind of like how we do, like they would do floor exercise in gymnastics, but they do it in, or Ray, if you know, put it in chat and tell me what it's called. And so the very fact that his movements are so quick and precise, they don't lag in any way. He's not like a wet noodle. Like it just snaps. He just moves and it's precise. Yeah? That is discipline. To get up and to practice the same thing the same way every time so that you can just do it with your eyes closed. But he had to start. The point is he had to start. So for you and I, when we want to make a change in our lives, identify the change you want to make and start. Start doing what? Start developing the mental attitude of that change. You see, people say, well, I want to be rich. I want to be free. I want to be strong. I want to be, yes, but what, those are just words. What are the embodying characteristics of those things? What would you be doing if you were? That is what you rehearse. And you get the attitude. Get the attitude. Why? Remember what the attitude does. The attitude forms a neurological pathway in your brain so that now when you think of this thing, you act this way. But you have to start. If you say, but Angela, I'm scared to speak in public. Man, I don't think any Bajan is afraid of speaking in public. Not the way we are raised in school, at least back in my day. Because we did things on stage. We had to sing. And especially when you had to sing and prepare for the queen, you didn't have time to be scared or shy. That, yeah, you performed that out. At least, like I said, back in my day, we didn't have that problem. For me, it wasn't necessarily performing arts, it was church. I had to memorize scripture. And not just memorize it, but recite it for the congregation. As my grandmother would say, not like I have marbles in my mouth, because if I have marbles in my mouth, nobody can understand what I'm saying. So what did she say? Articulate. Pronounce your words. Because if nobody can understand what you're saying, the message is lost. And you never want the message to be lost. So you see, some would say, but that's a brainwashing to be in church. I look at it completely different. I can speak anywhere. Because that's where I learned to do it. That is my muscle memory. And I just had to start. When I was afraid to sing Silent Night, my grandfather said to me, nobody's going to laugh at you. Just get up and sing this song. And you know you sound like an angel. Just sing this song. And my grandmother to assist, because you know how grannies are. She would do the harmony. She would just pop in and do a harmony and pop out again, you know. Just so I didn't feel alone. But the point that he told me was just start and something will take over. Your desire will take over. The courage will take over for you to continue. Do you know why that is? Because you're not meant to be a coward. So courage will always find you. What, you thought it was for another reason? No. When you start, you are ignited from within, and this thing just bubbles up inside of you. And you say, ooh, let's do some more. And it becomes exciting. And you do it again. And this is why I used to love to memorize scripture. What? Just to see how many you could memorize and how many you could recite. It was a game. One that I enjoyed playing immensely. But all the while, I had no idea what I was doing. Training my brain to retain information and to recall information. To this day, people ask me, oh my God, Angela, how's your memory so good? Because I practice. But nothing else. You cannot memorize that much. But some would say, and this is why I tell you, it is all a matter of perspective. Some would say, oh, but look at what you had to memorize. And now look at all those things. You just were brainwashed. Yeah? But I can outthink you, though. Because I learned how to do it. I'm not as witty as some. And that's all right. All these things you learn when you just start. So if you say, but Angela, I'm scared to start. I know. I get it. But you still have to start. I told you the story of driving school. I was scared to start in more ways than one. I was afraid to start driving, and I was afraid to start the engine. But I had an observant teacher. Oh, yes. I had an observant teacher, and the radio came on. I sang, and the ignition started, and oh, who was driving? That's right. You just have to start. Then you see what it is that you want to become. You see, when people come into the liquor store, and I ask, is there something I can help you with tonight? I can help you find? And they say, no, I'm just looking. And first of all, don't come into the store 10 minutes before closing and tell me you just looking. That's a surefire way for me. You know what? I digress. When they say to me, oh, I'm just looking, I said, well, what do you feel like? I said, do you feel like red? Do you feel like wine? Do you feel like a spirit? What do you feel like? Well, I don't really know. I said, well, outside is a little chilly. Perhaps a spirit to warm the cockles of your heart. And we both start to giggle. When you go somewhere and you do not know what you want, you tend to linger, to lollygag. I don't like to lollygag. Know what you want because it makes things easier for you. Because now you're not. Think about this for a moment. When you don't know what you want, George is going to come along and say, well, maybe you want this. Susan will say, no, don't mind George. George is foolish. You don't want that. You want this. Never quite knowing your own mind. But to know what you want, you learn your own mind. You learn your likes, your dislikes, your wants, your desires. You learn yourself. And what is the directive? Know thyself is the directive. Why is that? Because when you know the self, you know what you want, you know where you're going to go, you know where you'll end up. Why? Because you know you and you trust you. But some would say, but I don't know what I want. And I'm here to tell you, you do know what you want. You just are stuck on the part that says how to get it. So when you know what you want, just start. What would you be doing if you had it? That is the question. What would you be doing? Answer that question for yourself. What would you be doing? And then that is where you start your rehearsal. What are you rehearsing? The mental attitude of the person who lives and behaves the way you want to become. You thought it was something else? But we do it all day, every day, my friends. We do it all day, every day. We are constantly rehearsing a mental attitude. Oh, indeed we do. Now here's the beauty of what we know. The mental attitude rehearsed is the life that you will live. You perform what you practice. Mm? So now that you know that, what will you choose to practice? You just have to start. When you start, just start. And that first one is going to feel like, I'm melting. I'm melting. It'll feel like that. It'll feel like the whole thing is going to fall apart. But that's okay. Just start. You see, change is inevitable. Why? Because the principle of vibration tells us that everything moves. Nothing is at rest. It moves all the time. So because it moves all the time, that's telling us that change is inevitable. So because change is inevitable, that's great. But did you know that change is also deliberate? Really? Yes. Which means you can go through life and unwittingly allow life to beat you up, which means not knowing that you are the one projecting your very experiences into existence. You can go through life and not know that and be beat up by life because you think it is somebody else or something else or your fate, right? Or you can look at your life at present and say, I like this about my life. I'll keep that. I don't like this. Let me change it. What would I be doing if I changed it? What kind of mental changed it? And you start it. And as you begin to see it, you just start to rehearse it. Why would you rehearse? Neville just did a state akin to sleep, an SAT, meaning you just sit still and you allow the sensation of the end, the fulfillment of it. You allow that, and you experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality. That's what you do in that state akin to sleep. Once or twice a day, same amount of time, same time. That's a little better. I think he's facing the wall. But when you allow yourself to get into that space in your mind where you experience it in your imagination, you are not just pretending. You're not pretending at all. You are rehearsing that thing. Where you comprehend, and you will move from, oh, it'll happen. You will get from that point, and you will recognize that I call those things that are not as though they were, and they become. Why is that? Because you know the outcome of the command that you give. Why? Because you know, listen, I rehearse, I must experience. You know this. And you get that mental attitude. It's quite like when you're reading, mistake in the sentence, your brain is gonna knock that mistake out of there so that you don't, if you see it, but your brain says, no, don't say it. So what happens is it looks like a shortcut, right? Whereas the brain is just streamlining itself. So instead of going through all the steps, you go right to the end to get the end result. But you just have to start. You just have to start. Nothing is holding you back. Just what will you do? Take your time. Take your time. Meaning, take the time to know what it is that you want and begin to experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. And then step 3 is the knowing that, hey, I know that if I do this, this is the outcome. I know it. How do you know? How can you, people, how do you know with a shadow of a doubt? Because the law says every cause has its effect, and every effect its cause. So the cause is me wanting to change, so I rehearse what I want to become or what I want to act out. And because I rehearse what I want to act out, the only thing for me to do is to act it out. You learn to cook. Why? So that you can cook for yourself or anybody. And you see, sometimes the only reason why people burn things is because they rush. Ask me how I know. You rush the brush, you waste the paint. You're in a hurry. And when you're in a hurry, take your time. Savor the moment. So when you are deciding what it is you want to become, take your time. And feel it, look it over and say, this is what I want to become. Just allow yourself to be immersed in that. And then you start to practice the mentality of such a person. Jeff Bezos doesn't cower as he goes into any room. Oh, but Angela, he's Jeff Bezos. His mentality, not his name. His mentality, not his name. You see, remember what happens when we judge, Blind the eye, deafen the ear. The mentality. So when scripture tells you that man looks at the outward appearance, but God looks at the heart, what do you think the heart is? your mentality. Eh? Well, that's how you can tell if somebody's bad mind or not. Uh-oh. That's how you can tell if somebody's got good intentions or not. Look at their mentality. Their mentality may be invisible to the naked eye, but the behavior, just look at the behavior. And you can learn much about a person's mentality. So you see, my beautiful friends, you just have to start. And that thing that you start to do, I want to say it will develop a life all its own. Oh, yes, it will. It'll pull you along and say, ooh, let's get it done, girl. Get it, girl. That's what it will say. And before you know it, you're a brand new person. Is that not what you want? To be a brand new person? Then just start the mentality of that person. And the more you stay, remember, one cannot always do it. Something else. We cannot, just like you can't breathe for an extended amount of time. Of course, unless you're those underwater divers, those guys that just go down there with the spears and they go fishing. Yeah, they've practiced. So they can hold it for that amount of time, but they do have to come up for air. We do not sustain things. Why? Because the principle of vibration says nothing stands still. It is always moving. So you cannot be stuck. You cannot be stationary. You have to move. So the mood is always moving. And the way to get yourself to do that thing the same way every time is to practice it. I see these people knitting and crocheting, and I'm thinking to myself, and there's no pattern in sight other than the pattern they have in their mind's eye. And I'm like, dude, I I'm not even gonna test that thing because I know me. I just have a ball of yarn with all ends knotted because I know me. I do know me. But if you look at them and you marvel at the fact that they can hold the image in their mind's eye and they can modify that image at will, how do you know they modified it? Because they changed the thing they're making. You have the same capacity. Ask David Goggins. People think he's like Superman. No, he has just learned the art of keeping attitude and staying focused. And so he will stay focused for the duration of the thing that he's doing. And once he's done, he moves on to something else. But he did not just become focused, he practiced focusing. So don't tell me that you can't focus. You practice. You practice. I know for me, when I go to work, I have a lot to do, a lot to remember. So I made different processes where I don't have to remember. I memorized the process and put it in a checklist so that now I follow the checklist. So that's why you take the time to get it right. So that if the phone rings and I'm interrupted, I jot a little note down on a sticky and I put it where it is so that I don't have to remember. I know. But I wasn't always there. So you have to start developing yourself. It is everywhere in your life. It is at your job. And this is why I tell people, somebody asked me, Angela, how can you even work at the liquor store? Like, I'm like, one, these bills are not gonna pay themselves. Two, I enjoy people. When people say to you, I came here and I was a little bit sad, but you said something to me and I really appreciated it and it made me feel better. Thanks for brightening my day. I don't know you from George. I don't know you from Adam. But I do know that you're human. So I treat you as such. And everybody wants kindness, do they not? And I'll always remember Marie. I love the way she says her own name. She's French. Huh? She says it so beautifully. When she called me vibrant, I was like, oh, you know what song went through my head, right? Vibrant thing, vibrant thing. I was like, ow. Listen, I left the farmer's market humming that song, and it was like the habit of being in a different mentality, the habit of being in that mentality, of knowing as within, so without. What am I projecting into the world? Knowing that and constantly going back to that because it is my habit, that's how one stays positive more than they do the other. With practice. You just have to start. Is it easy? Nah, because some days I want to put my hands around his neck and squeeze. I do, but I don't. Because I comprehend that everybody's dealing with something. But I wasn't always like that. I still fly off the handle. I'll still cuss you out. But I find that I do it less. You just have to start. So today, my beautiful friends, I am way over time. Don't fret. Just start. Choose what it is you want to become and develop the mentality. And the way that makes it easier for us to develop that mentality, the way to make it easy to develop that mentality is to begin to do what? Experience in imagination what you would be doing in reality if you were the man or the woman you wanted to be. And when you see it, what do you know from there? It's invisible to everybody else, but it is visible to you. And when you see it, you begin to feel it. And when you feel it, it moves you to act. And what do you do in that action? Practice, 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 practice. What would you be doing if you were no longer in your present situation? That is the question to answer. What would you be doing? Because you know what it causes you to do? It causes you to go to the very end and say, ooh, I'd be doing that. And you're not trying to figure out how you're going to do it. You just do it by rehearsing because you answered the question. What would I be doing? I would be doing this. And the moment you recognize what you would be doing, you're going to start naturally to develop the mentality of it. And you'll begin to understand what Neville Goddard meant when he said, persist in the feeling of the wish fulfilled. It doesn't matter what you want to change in your life. It doesn't matter what you want to change. Be deliberate. about the change. There's a saying that you can either fall on the rock or have the rock fall on you. I'm not talking about Dwayne Johnson. I digress. You can fall on the rock, which is to initiate your change, or you can keep thinking that somebody has power over you and that you can't become something. Thereby, they crush you. Which one of those things would you prefer? I prefer to initiate my change. If I initiate my change, I know how it ends. If I allow somebody to force me into change because I think they have the power over me, I don't know how that is going to end. When you initiate change, you bring about clarity, you bring about surety of self. You also bring about security. Well, how? Because you know the outcome. And when you know the outcome, things are certain, are they not? How are they certain? You are certain that if you practice, you will perform. You're certain, you're sure you have security in that. Not the thing, but in the knowing of what it is. And that will never change because the laws don't bend at the clever tongue of a lawyer. That's not what these laws do. But who's the better debater? No, that's not what these laws do. These laws tell you as above, so below, as within, so without. Everything moves. Every cause has its effect, and every effect has its cause. They are unwavering. They show no partiality. Yet they draw the very essence of you out. And they mold and shape you into the most beautiful thing there is. And it is a process, is it not? Because when the potter puts that clay on the wheel, it is just a lump of clay, honey. It is just a lump of clay, and he has to mold and shape that clay. You are the clay, but you are also the master potter, and you have to mold and shape yourself into becoming what you want to become. And that is how? By shaping the mentality, the mental mood, the mental attitude. Anyhow, don't let me preach in here. I gotta go warm that car up and scrape it. uh, yes, I do. Oh, yes, I do. Whew. I love Old Man Winter. I do. But you gotta say old man like Jackie Harry. She goes, ooh, an old man. Oh, Old Man Winter. I do love him, though. Oh, yes, I do. He don't say much. Just encourages me to be warm. Hello, I digress. Listen, let us go forth today. And remember, just start. Just start. Yes? Who's here with us today on look at Twitter. Hey, Solo Breezy. Beloved Love Troll is in the house. I see y'all. It is so good to see each and every one of you, huh? Mm-hmm. It sure is. It is good to see you both. Thank you for being here. Oh, well, if it isn't my Liza darling, welcome. It's good to see you in these YouTube streets. You made yourself known, so I say hello by name. For the other who's not made themselves known, I still see you. I see you. And who else is with us today? Oh, fan base. I had to scroll. Hello. Ray Ray is in the house. Hey, Flo Smiles. Flo Smiles. Girl, I doggone near through that computer. If I didn't pay so much money for that computer, I would have. Listen. Ooh. So I turned it off because I'm stuck on one part of the website. But, your girl will prevail. I will prevail. Cause I'm happy is in the house. KZ, say hello to Mama this morning for us. Hug and kiss Mama for us today. Grams is in the house. Ow. Hello, Grams. Big Mike is in the house. Oh. Michael is here. Commander is here. Welcome. Mm. Listen, it is always so beautiful to spend time with you in the mornings. Wait, did you say you're on the West Coast? Or did you say you're on the East Coast? That message flashed so quickly I couldn't see it, beloved, but I'll check my DMs. Listen, it is always a pleasure, and it is a privilege for me to be here. It really is. To spend time with you, because I know it is early, and it is not always easy for some of us to be here. But you started. Oh, yes, you did. And for that, I am truly appreciative of your time. And the fact that you spend this time with me and Rue and Lady is broody again. Woo. Can't be hatching no babies in the winter, girl. That's okay. We know the secret now to get her to stop being broody. Let her brood. She'll only brood for 21 days. I just got to make sure she's fed and watered and clean. And she'll brood for 21 days and then she'll stop. Why 21 days? Because that's how long it takes an egg to hatch. So she'll sit there. She'll get up and she'll stretch, but she'll go back until she's done. Can she count? Allegedly. Because she knows exactly what day it is. She can count. She knows how to count them their days. But you know what? I do love you, my beautiful friends. Go forth today and just start, whatever that thing is, start by developing the mentality of the person you want to become. And you're not just starting a mentality because it's something fancy to do. You are starting the mentality because you comprehend that in your brain, when you start to learn an activity, you form a neurological pathway. And every time you do that activity, you will do it in that way, thereby creating a life experience for yourself. Oh, yes, that neurological pathway is your friend. Hello, we call it muscle memory. So just start, and you'll see the changes. And when you see their changes, holler at your girl and let me know. Because I'll throw some confetti for you. Virtual confetti, because I will not be cleaning it up. I'm tired. I don't want to clean up no confetti, but I will throw you some virtual confetti. Anyhow, I love you all. And I'll close all rooms at the same time. Because I'm going to go and pack my lunch. It's already made. My son made my lunch for me last night. We're having spaghetti with meat sauce for lunch. Yep, that's what he made me. So, you know how it is. Countdown initiated. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Much love to each and every one of you. And I'll see you on the morrow right here on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, fan base. Elon did a post this morning asking, should we keep the name Twitter or could we continue using X? I was like, dude, I never stopped calling it Twitter. You know why? Because the neurological pathway to call it Twitter is already there. That's why it feels funny to say X. Because every time you say X, you think of the X. But you know what? I'm done. I'm done. Clearly, all of them millions, and he did not employ the correct think tank. You know what? Let me stop. Sorry, Elon. It's always been Twitter, and it will always be Twitter. Tweet, tweet. Anyway, I was such a bad girl. Anyway, I do love you, and I will see you on the morrow, right here at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, if you want to hang out with us. Much love to each and every one of y'all. Okay. My melanin moods. Is that you, girl? Yes, it is. Hey, sugar. We just say goodbye. I gotta leave in like 9 minutes. The good news is I've already done everything else. I just gotta, yeah, I already combed my hair, done everything else. Put my shoes and socks on and be out the door. Hello? I love you. Peace out, everybody. Mwah. Peace out.